jabber, to talk thick and fast, as great praters usually do, to chatter like a magpie, also to speak a foreign language. He jabbered to me in his damned outlandish parlez-vous, but I could not understand him. He chattered to me in French or some other foreign language, but I could not understand him. So we're on J. Jack. A farthing, a small bowl serving as a mark for bowlers, an instrument for pulling off boots. Jack Adams, a fool. Jack Adams parish. Clerkenwell. Jack at a pinch, a poor hackney person. Jack in a box, a sharper or cheat, a child in the mother's womb. Jack in an office, an insolent fellow in authority. Jack Ketch, the hangman, Vide, Derrick, and Ketch. Jack Nasty Face, a sea term signifying a common sailor. Jack of Legs, a tall, long-legged man, also a giant, said to be buried in Weston Church near Baldock in Hertfordshire, where there are 2 stones 14 feet distant, said to be the head and feet of stones of his grave. This giant, says Salmon, as fame goes, lived in a wood here and was a great robber, but a generous one, for he plundered the rich to feed the poor. He frequently took bread for the purpose from the Baldock bakers, who, catching him at an advantage, put out his eyes, and afterwards hanged him upon a knoll in Baldock field as death. He made one request, which was that he might have his bow and arrow put into his hand, and on shooting it off where the arrow fell, they would bury him. Which being granted, the arrow fell in Weston Churchyard above 70 years ago. A very large thigh bone was taken out of the church chest, where it had lain many years for a show, and was sold by the clerk to Sir John Tradescant, who, it is said, put it among the rarities of Oxford. Jack Pudding, the merry Andrew, zany or jester to a mountebank. Jack Robinson, before one could say Jack Robinson, a saying to express a very short time, originating from a very volatile gentleman of that appellation, who would call on his neighbours and be gone before his name could be announced. Jack Sprat, a dwarf or diminutive fellow. Jack Tar, a sailor. Jack Waite, a fat man. Jack Whore, a large, masculine, overgrown wench. Jackanapes, an ape, a pert, ugly fellow. Little. Jack Spavined, a jacked horse. Jackmen, see Jarkmen. Jacky Gin. Jacob, a soft fellow, a fool. Jacob, a ladder, perhaps, from Jacob's dream. Cunt, also the common name for a jay, jays being usually taught to say, poor Jacob, a cup of sack for Jacob. Jacobites, sham or collar shirts, also partisans for the Stuart family, from the name of the abdicated king, i.e. James or Jacobus. It is said by the Whigs that God changed Jacob's name to Israel, lest the descendants of that patriarch should be called Jacobites. Jade, a term to reproach to women. Jog, a ditch perhaps from Jakes. Jailbirds, prisoners. Jakes, a house of office, a cacatorium. Jammed, hanged, cunt. Janizaries, the mob, sometimes so called, also bailiffs, their setters and followers. Japanned, ordained to be japanned, to enter into holy orders, to become a clergyman, to put on the black cloth from the colour of Japan, which is black. Jark, a seal. Jarkman, those who fabricate counterfeit passes, licenses, and certificates for beggars. Jarvis, a hackney coachman. Jason's fleece, a citizen cheated of his gold. Jaw, speech, discourse, give us none of your jaw, let us have none of your disclosure, or discourse. A jaw me dead, a talkative fellow. Jaw work, a cry used in fairs by the sellers of nuts. Jaysy, a bob wig. Jeffy, it be done in a jeffy, it be done in a short space of time, in an instant. Jehu, to drive Jehu-like, to drive furiously from a king of Israel of that name, who was a famous charioteer, and mentioned as such in the Bible. Gem, a gold ring cunt. Jemmy fellow, a smart spruce fellow. Jemmy, a crow. This instrument is much used by housebreakers, sometimes called Jemmy Rock. Jenny, an instrument for lifting up the grate or top of a show glass in order to rob it, cunt. Jerry Kamamabo, to shake, torzle, or tumble about. Jerry Sneak, a hen-pecked husband from a celebrated character in one of Mr. Foot's plays, representing a man governed by his wife. Jessamy, a smart, gemmy fellow, a fopling. Jesuit, see to box the Jesuit, or Jesuit. Jesuitical, sly, evasive, equivocal, a Jesuitical answer, an equivocal answer. Jet, a lawyer. Autumn jet, a parson. Jew, an overreaching dealer or hard, sharp fellow, an extortioner. The brokers formerly behind St. Clement's Church in the Strand were called Jews by their brethren the tailors. Jew, a tradesman who has no faith, i.e. will not give credit. Jew bail, insufficient bail, commonly Jews who for the sum of money will bail any action whatsoever and justify, that is, swear to their sufficiency, but when called on are not to be found. Jew's eye, that worth a Jew's eye, a pleasant or agreeable sight, a saying taken from Shakespeare. Gibber the kibber, a method of deceiving seamen by fixing a candle and landform round the neck of a horse, one of whose 4 feet is tied up. This at night has the appearance of a ship's light. Ships bearing towards it run on shore and being wrecked or plundered by the inhabitants. This diabolical device is, it is said, practiced by the inhabitants of our western coasts. Jig, a trick, a pleasant jig, a witty arc trick, also a lock or door, the featherbed jig. Copulation, jigger, a whipped post cunt. Jilt, a tricking woman who encourages the addresses of a man whom she means to deceive and abandon. Jilted, rejected by a woman who has encouraged one's advances. And jingle boxes, leafern jacks tipped with silver and hung with bells, formerly in use among fuddle caps, cunt. Jingle brains, a wild, thoughtless, rattling fellow. Jinglers, horse cozers, frequently country fairs. And the J has come back. Ugh. This is great, isn't it? Job, a guinea. Job's comfort, a reproof instead of consolation. Job's comforter, one who brings news of some additional misfortune. Job's dock, he is laid up in Job's dock, i.e. in a salivation. The apartments for the foul or venereal patients in St. Bartholomew Hospital are called Job's ward. Jobation, a reproof. Jobbernoll, the head. To job, to reprove or reprehend. Cambridge term, a job. Any robbery, to do a job, to commit some kind of robbery. Jock or crowdy-headed jock, a jeering appellation for a north country seaman, particularly a collier, jock being a common name, and crowdy, the chief food of the lower order of the people in Northumberland. To jock or jockum cloy, to enjoy a woman. Jockum gauge, a chamber pot, Jordan, looking glass or member mug, cunt. Jog trot, to keep on a jog trot, to get on with a slow but regular pace. Johnny bum, a he or jackass, so called by a lady that affected to be extremely polite and modest, who would not say jack because it was vulgar, nor ass because it was indecent. Joint, to hit a joint in carving. The operator must think of a cuckold, to put one's nose out of joint, to rival one in favour of a patron or mistress. Jolly or jolly knob, the head. I'll lump you, jolly knob, for you. I'll give you a knock on the head. Jolly dog, a merry fascious fellow, a bon vivant who never flinches from the glass, nor cries to go home or to bed. Jolt ahead, a large head, metaphorically, a stupid fellow. Jourdain, a great blow or staff. I'll tip him a Jordan if I trans near him. I'll blow him with my staff. I'll come near him, cunt. Jordan, a chamber pot. Joram, a jug or large pitcher. Joseph, a woman's great coat, also a sheepish, bashful young fellow. An allusion to Joseph, who who fled from Potiphar's wife. You are Josephus Rex, you are joking, i.e. joking. Joskin, a countryman, the drop cove. Mace, the Joskin, of 20 quid. The ring joker, the dropper of a cheated countryman with Guinness. Joel the cheek, the eyes back. Joel the cheek, cheek by Joel, close together or cheek to cheek. My eyes, how the coal sucked the blowman's kiss. He kissed the wench bitch handsomely.